but it's still very difficult for corporations to predict the future and where their job is going. If they do that, they'll be very successful companies, and not all companies are successful. And maybe the answer is like maybe we should have more consultants, predicting the future and then trying to do evangelist work to get people more up to date on what's going on with emerging technologies.
Yeah, or at least an innovation hub inside of the company, so they can see and test what's happening as well.
Yeah.
I think the other piece is that, like you said, companies may not see it. They have to consider doing business with a heart then as well.
Yeah.
As soon as there's a downtrend, you don't start by cutting people. You start by looking at some of the expenses. And how many companies have we seen where they cut however many people, but the executives are still eating steak dinners and wine and going to F1 and things like this? It's
Happened
very
in the financial industry.
Yeah, very incongruous, activity.
Sure.
And so companies have to think through, how do I invest? And if I did that investment wisely, wouldn't that deliver even better business performance?
Yeah.
And I argue that it would, but then leadership, they have to get trained too.
Yeah, they got to get out of this short-termism, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what the shareholders are always looking at. It's like, okay, how much money can I make off of the shares of this company, after this quarter, right?
Yeah.
And what it's done. And I think too many money is chasing after short-term profits, and I think we need a framework where that changes as well. Even from the company side and the investor side as well, right? Like, let's say like Unilever decided not to post their quarterly results anymore because they didn't want investors chasing after their quarterly results, and they wanted long-term investors, right? I mean, maybe that's one of the ways to do it.
Right.
It lowers the disclosure of the company during the whole year, obviously, but it attracts more people who believe in the vision of the company, the quality of the people that they employ and the business that they do. I'm not trying to praise Unilever like that, but I mean that's I guess that's one way to do it. And I don't know about the investor side, but there is way too much, and I've experienced it firsthand. That this short-termism is really creating more negative results in society, I believe, than positive.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with you on that. We can't think short term, and we can't do business as usual. We have to, and also education as usual. We really need to take a step back and say, what is it for education? How do we engage these students who every time they go home, they have 3 or 4 glass items in front of them, the iPad, a phone, the computer, all there. And then we bring them into a classroom to listen to one person speak about the botany or something.
Yeah.
Should we be asking those students to create an app about botany, to learn how to do web scraping, use machine learning to learn about botany that way, program the computer so it learns, right? Those are all small projects that students around the world are doing, but not necessarily as part of the core curriculum. For businesses, we need to be thinking about, well, I have all this, my customers are generating all this data. How do I join an ecosystem so that I can delight them? And, work with the telco, work with Google, work with the other companies to build up this picture of who my customer is and really individualize in an individualized way, meet them at their need. And we can do that today. And then from and what are the jobs that are necessary to do that? How do I retask some of my guys that are going away so they can really delight the customer in a better way as well? I think those are all things that companies and schools should be considering looking at.
Yeah.
And it's not short-term thinking.
Right, yeah.
Future Design Podcast.